Half day and welcome to the interview, our interview with recently confirmed Judge of the Superior Court, Lillian Tenorio, the former Deputy Attorney General for the CNMI. Judge Tenorio, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And we are here at your parents' home, and this is where the private swearing in was held shortly after your Senate confirmation. Tell the audience a little bit about this place and why we're doing the interview here.
We are doing the interview here because I thought it would be appropriate to have it at the place where I was, where I took the oath of office from Chief Justice Castro, and surrounded by my family. And it's a fitting place for me, especially since both my parents are not here.
And so you went through 3 separate confirmation hearings on Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan. Now that you're at the end of it and it's all over, how do you feel?
I feel like a sense of relief, really, that it's finally, the new role that I was nominated for is finally here. That I'm finally sworn in to be the next the associate judge for the Superior Court, and so I'm relieved that it's over. It's been I've been telling friends I've been in suspended animation for quite a while, and just making sure that I do my job as deputy. But now that transition has happened, and the preparations are underway to make sure that I am I am ready to assume the role and the responsibilities of judge.
You started out as a law clerk, went on to be a legislative legal counsel, have your own private law firm, and more recently, the Deputy Attorney General. Was judge ever on your horizon, on your agenda?
No, it wasn't something that I really put out my sights and said, okay, I want to be a judge. It may have crossed my mind here and there, but it wasn't something that I really was looking at as something that I that I had ambitions for. And so I just wanted to be the best lawyer that I could be in whatever legal capacity that I had, whether be a law clerk, house legal counsel, being in private practice, and being Deputy Attorney General. And so I know that the process requires, it's the discretion of the governor to nominate who he or she wants to nominate. And so that's beyond my call. So it wasn't anything that I was like setting my sights on.
And so tell us about that, the call you got from the governor, and what was your reaction? I wasn't sure exactly. I mean, I was like honored, really honored, and that he had that confidence in me. I've known him when he was a legislator in the House, when I was House Legal Counsel, and we've kept in touch over the years, and as Lieutenant Governor for the past 4 years, and then now. And so, I've been in touch with him. And so I was, of course, very, very honored. But I had to think about it. And when it came time for him to submit the papers and to make a final decision officially, I spoke with my family, my husband, my children, and my siblings, and then I told him, okay, all right, let me get you the stuff that you need to submit my nomination. I didn't know we asked you immediately after your Senate confirmation in the chambers, but I wanted to ask you now, given we have more time, what does this moment mean to you, given you're just the 4th female to be confirmed and to be a judge in the Superior Court?
It's an honor. It really is an honor, and there is somewhat of a weight of legacy that you want to leave or to impress on those, especially who are younger and looking at role models and history. So to me, there is that extra responsibility to make sure that there is, that it's not only personally, but also I know that little girls and, other professionals, young women, are looking for an example of what it's like to be a professional. And so, yeah, it's there. Yeah.
And who do you look up to?
I look up to, oh yeah, my parents. They're always in the back of my mind. There are lots, my siblings, of course, my husband. But most importantly, as my mom reminded me, even, as late as 2 years ago, she said, don't ever forget that you don't make it happen really, Lillian. It's God who makes it happen. And so that's what I remember most of all when I am thinking about the things that, as I move forward in life and think about decisions that I have to make. Not only what I've learned over the years and the experience that I've had, the very many mentors that have helped me along the way, terrific mentors in the legal field. And so I'm blessed to have them, but I also remember that ultimately in the end, I have to thank God for where I am today.
How would you describe your judicial philosophy or your approach to the law? What are some core values that you hold? What kind of judge will you be?
That's a good question, right? I've been asked that. I was asked that by the Senate, and I said it remains to be seen. I do, when you asked about who do I look up to, I spoke about family, but professionally, there are folks, jurists who have served, and I am especially, I especially look at the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her life, her fight for women, for inclusion, for diversity in all walks of life. And so that is the model that I think works best for me. I mean, I went to a law school that emphasized that, as I mentioned in my remarks, my comments before the Senate. So I'm grateful for that law school experience of looking at the law through the perspective of women, of not disenfranchised, but marginalized, and helping others along the way. That's what I'm looking at in terms of what my judicial philosophy has been.
So you went to UC Davis for undergrad and University of New Mexico for your JD.
Yes.
And yeah, tell us a little bit more about your personal background. I know I mentioned a bit about your trajectory professionally, but what were some other key moments in your life, would you say, that has led you to this point?
I started out, I went to law school late. I was 34 at the time, and so I was very strategic, tactical about where I was going to go to law school. I was accepted at various other law schools, but one of the things I looked at was what was the median age. And so, New Mexico School of Law had an older student population, so I think I would fit in just right in that kind of environment, and it turned out to be the right choice. But before law school, I was a legislative assistant. I was the chief of staff for the speaker at the time, and that when I made the decision to go to law school. And so, I had real cheerleaders and even mentors at the legislature at that time. That was in the 90s. The late Maya Cara was very influential and really encouraged me. She showed me, how this is how you can be a lawyer. This is how you research and how policy and law intersect, and how that's important to take into account. So I spent those years in the legislature. I saw some really interesting moments in the legislative, in my experience in the legislature. And so prior to that, I was also in the visitor industry. I worked for the Marianas Visitors Bureau as a marketing assistant, so I traveled a lot, came to understand the importance of the economy and the CNMI and how it fits in with the rest of the world when you're trying to promote this as a destination for tourists. So those, I did quite a bit of things before I made the decision at age 34 to go to law school. So.
And how would you describe the state of the legal community, I guess, and especially when it comes to having maybe more local lawyers? What's your viewpoint on
I am so glad that we do have more local lawyers. We definitely do have that. You know, I recall when the pre-law program was revitalized back in the early 90s, and Justice Villagomez was very instrumental in working with the bar, with Maya Cara. I recall her being very active in trying to get the pre-law program underway. They tapped Professor or Dean Desiderio, Robert Desiderio from my UNM Law School. He was out here actually serving, he served for less than a year, but as House Legal Counsel with the legislature early on. I'm not quite sure which legislature, but he has been instrumental in setting up our tax code. And so he came out here along with another professor, and so we've had regular pre-law programs since then, and that has really helped make a difference in inspiring in local folks to go to law school. And I didn't attend the first program. I may have attended the second one, the third one, but I didn't attend the first one. My sister attended that one. And so as a result of that push, that community support, you have now more lawyers than we had back then. I do recall I had a conversation with, it was the chief prosecutor at the time, Cheryl Gill, and she told me, she was with Maya Cara and they were having wine. I had happened to just come by, and she said, you know, this community really needs to have local lawyers. And so there weren't anyone who was prosecuting crimes with her. It was just mostly, you know, folks recruited from outside the Commonwealth. And so now at the AG's office, you have Franny Demapan as well as Heather Barcinas, two women who've been there in that office for a while, along with Chester Hines, and there's another one, David Karch. But it's gratifying to see that, and to see people, local people, turning to the legal profession and then coming back and then giving to the community.
I'm sure many young people will also be watching this interview, hopefully, and inspired by the mark that you've made and will continue to make. I just want to give you a chance to maybe address them. What advice would you give to anyone at any age who might be wanting to enter this profession or is in it and, you know, needs some words of advice?
It's a noble profession. It's really, and it requires dedication. You have to love to read. You have to be interested in all different things in the law, people's lives, how they are impacted by the law. But it's something that is a part of life. And once you understand it, you take away the apprehension that people may feel about not understanding what goes on when they're in court, when they're given a summons, when they're given a complaint to answer. What does that all mean? Or to know what their rights are as individuals or as employees or as business owners. So it's something that it gives you you know, a perspective on life, and it's important to know it. And I encourage everyone, regardless if you don't go to law school immediately after earning your bachelor's degree, you can do it at age 34. And there are different opportunities that may be available. Online learning may be something, an option. Programs or law schools that are available. I don't know if the CNMI, you know, the Supreme Court now only recognizes ABA-approved schools, so that is something to take into account when you're looking at law schools. But it's a very gratifying profession and you can help really make a difference in someone's life, being a lawyer, regardless of whatever profession, whatever role that you may have, be it just a regular lawyer or a judge.
And so what do the next few weeks look like to you? Just a matter of days ago you were confirmed, so what does preparation look like for you? And some might be wondering when your public investiture might be taking place.
Yeah, so I think I may be appearing in my courtroom this coming week. Just a few light cases as I get my feet wet and get myself situated. and there will be more responsibilities that will be added to that as well as I move on. Public investiture, it would be later on, sometime in April, I think, but the announcement will come out.
All right, and that's all the questions I had. Anything else you'd like to share that I didn't ask about, or you want the community to know as you enter this new role?
I don't have anything at the moment, Thomas, but I really thank you for your persistence, and I thank you for the opportunity to, to talk about my experience and to encourage others in life, whatever it is that they do, to continue to strive to do as best as they can, and I thank you for the opportunity.